everybody. Welcome to a Knicks championship version of Bill Roden on Sports Bros Pod. I'm here still in San Antonio. Can you see by the little bush league thing in the back? My door, my hotel room door, and I'm wearing my. No, this is not a San Antonio Spurs cap. I bought some street corn last night from a vendor, and
Uh-huh.
the guy just kind of handed me a hat. He said, "Here." And I said, okay, I'll take it. I'll bring this home. And the street corn was. Have you ever had street corn, Jamal? Jamal
I don't
is
think
my.
so. I,
Hey,
I've never been to
uh,
San Antonio. I know that.
well, yeah. So anyway, so I'm holding it down here, Jamal, man. Holding it down in Brooklyn. What was the? I'll tell you about the scene in San Antonio. The Knicks once again took over an arena. What was the scene like in Brooklyn?
Bill, the scene in Brooklyn was crazy. I've never seen anything like it. We were all the other games I watched somewhere else. I hadn't partaken in the public viewing, whatever they were calling it. The watch parties and all that around the city. Uh, and then I heard there was one on Fulton Street in Brooklyn. So I go check it out. I bring the kids out there, my son's
Oh no, you
friends,
brought the kids
the
there?
kids, the wife, everybody went out there, parked. There was no parking. I parked at a hydrant. I was like, the police aren't giving any tickets today. They got to worry about these crowds, and it was just crazy. The scene was crazy. They didn't really shut down the streets, so it was like people just in the street, cars trying to get through. So then we run into a friend of my son's. That's how it is nowadays. You run into your kids' friends, right? I
Right.
used to run
And
into
they
my
got the
friends.
hookup.
Yeah, they got
Right.
the hookup. So we ended up
Right.
watching the game at my son's friend's house with his parents. We watched the game, and then when the game is over and the Knicks win, even though we'll get to that later, um, they have a roof. I go out on the roof, and I could not believe like the
Oh
cheer.
wow.
It felt like I was at like a football stadium. Like you just
Wow.
hear cheering. We were in Fort Greene, just cheering. And then they break out into singing "New York State of Mind" by Alicia
Wow.
Keys, right? Like in
Wow.
unison, everybody's just singing it. So then we
Wow.
bring the kids outside. We're like, we got to see this. So we go outside,
Right.
and it's just nothing but sea of people. They shut down the
Wow.
streets, buses abandoned, people
Wow.
standing on buses.
Wow.
All is like people on the light posts, people on the
Wow.
everything. It was just wild. It was just a wild scene. I've never seen anything
Wow.
like that in New York.
Wow.
I mean,
Well,
this
it's because
this is just
you haven't seen
right.
the Knicks championship.
The Knicks haven't won a championship in my lifetime. And I
Wow.
was thinking about it's different. I guess it's different than the Yankees because the Yankees have won. It's not
Right.
something new, so they don't
Right.
go as crazy.
The Giants, I
The
guess, when they
Giants, same kind of thing, man. But this was just, I mean, and I think Spike Lee's having something else in Fort Greene, a block party in Fort Greene today. I heard, so I
is
might
that
go back
right?
out there, Bill. I'm
Wow, you
just gonna
should.
soak in all this Knicks fever.
Wow. Yeah, you should, man. This would bring a camera. You gotta
Right.
record, bring some of this video to bring some of this video. I don't know if I give you some video from last night, can you post it?
Yes. Send me that video. And I took some video from last night in Brooklyn, so I can
Yeah,
send
well,
you that.
good.
Show you that.
Yeah, something tells me because the video from Brooklyn might be a lot more. I mean, the Knicks inside the what do they call this place? Whatever the San Antonio
Frost
thing,
Bank
the
Center.
Frost Bank Center,
Uh-huh.
the Frost Bank Center. I mean, the Knicks basically the fans took it over. So this is like the fourth stadium they took over. They took over Atlanta, they took over Philadelphia, they took over Cleveland, and they took over San Antonio.
And
So
San
I don't.
Antonio is the wildest to me. I'm like, how did they do that?
Yeah,
How?
they got because I mean they were at each place. All these teams try to prevent defense. They tried to prevent Knicks fans from taking over, but somehow they managed. They were just like, Although I was thinking that one thing the Knicks fans may have done, they may have upped the fans in other cities to up their game.
Mm,
Because you couldn't just you could sit on your hand and they'll be all casual when the Knicks are saying, "Go Knicks, go Knicks, let's go Knicks." So you couldn't just be insulted. So even these very passive, nice, pleasant fans in Atlanta and
right.
Cleveland, we were like come with our life here in the suburbs in
Right.
Cleveland, and then and then out here in Texas, you had to like you up your game and say, no, no, let's. They've even had the advantage here. Let's go Spurs. Let's go Spurs. And then the Knicks were drowning you out. It was like really, it was pretty amazing,
So
man. Pretty amazing.
what was the percentage in there? Because I couldn't tell. I didn't have the sound on that much when I was watching.
Probably 30%, maybe.
But
30, but
just
it was
a
a
loud
loud
30.
30%. And then
Right.
at the very end, I mean, because of course the Spurs fans just wanted to get the hell out of there.
Right.
All the way around, it was like all Knicks fans, all Knicks fans. And I must admit, I don't know if I should admit this, but I was doing a stand up with for Anscape, and
Uh-huh.
then the guy was trying to bring different guests in, and there was a New York Giants quarterback
Oh,
that
the Dart was there?
don't even mention the name. That's it. Oh, I think we run out of time. I don't think we have any more time left. Oh, sorry, we just ran out of time. Yeah,
Oh, it's a shame. It's a shame.
I don't know. I don't know what could I do? Roasted him? Said, I don't know.
What are you
I
gonna
don't
do?
know.
What are you gonna
I
do?
don't know.
We got plenty. I'm sure we'll talk about him a bunch in the next few months.
Him and Omar.
It's almost football season, you know.
I know. I know. Yeah. Um, Maybe I was trying to invite you. I'm giving an event for $40 million slaves, which I hope that you will attend.
Oh,
Oh,
I'll
what
be
you
there.
got?
I'll be there.
Yeah. Um, um, July 8th, and at the Studio Museum of New York. And I wanted to invite my man from the Giants, Abdul Carter.
Right.
I,
That'd be
I
great.
wanted to, yeah, I wanted to do it. I don't know. I don't know how he's feeling now. He may be like, hey, man, I said what I had to say. I don't.
I mean, you're not asking him to speak out. I mean, you're
No,
just inviting
just
him
be
to.
present. Be
Yeah,
present at an event of $40 million slaves. That's
that's
kind of like
right. I mean,
probably. Were you there?
I think he's shown us that he's a conscious brother. You might
Yeah, he is conscious, but maybe I will reach out anyway. See if he'll come. Yeah, man. So, what did you think? You're as a native New Yorker, and I'm
Hmm.
a transplanted. I don't know. What do we agree?
We agree that you're a New Yorker,
I'm a New Yorker.
native or not.
Yeah, native decision. I thought you said that your dad made a great distinction that you
He said
were just born here.
yeah,
Yeah,
he said I'm not. He's more of a New Yorker than me because he came here, on his own,
right,
to fate, in the belly of the beast. While I was just born here, like
right. By default, you didn't
what
choose it.
say did I have, you know?
Right, right. It'd be like if you choose that you're going to go to Boston, you know,
Right,
you
right,
choose Boston, you know,
right,
or you choose Haiti, yeah,
right, right.
you know.
So yes,
But
and
having
then
said that, but you're still a New Yorker, and you at one point in time you were like a heavy before you. What made you jump off the New York Knicks bandwagon?
I think it was the Nets coming to Brooklyn. Um,
Uh,
and the fact that the Knicks hadn't won anything and they were kind of bad at the time. This was like the last. This was like right after Phil Jackson took over, like the end of the Carmelo Anthony era. And I was just looking around, like, and then Brooklyn's coming to town. I was like, hey, and I'm a New Yorker, but first I'm a Brooklynite. That's the way
okay,
I look at it. Like I take the most pride in being from Brooklyn. And so, I'm like, oh, what? Brooklyn has a team now? Brooklyn's going to be on the chest. I got to root for that. Like, there's no way I'm not rooting for that. So I kind of was like, I'm gonna ride with Brooklyn. The Knicks are terrible. They got Dolan, all this. I'm like, I don't have time for this. But prior to that, all through the '90s, I was a diehard Knicks fan with in the Ewing days and the Oakley days, and then even further past that. So yes, I jumped back on the bandwagon. I admit it, just for this playoff run, kind of. Um, and I don't know. Maybe it's just a separation. Maybe they got me. Maybe as long as Brunson and them are here, they might
every
have me. I don't know.
everybody loves a winner. So a few questions for you. A, yeah, I mean, he's only 29, although
Right.
in sports years he's probably a pro. He's
Yeah.
probably at the peak. He's right now at the
Right
prime.
there.
So do you
Right
think
there.
that they can? Do you think the Knicks can repeat? I don't think no team, no NBA has repeated as champions since Golden State. Do you think the Knicks
Right.
can repeat?
I mean, I wouldn't bet on it because, like you said, no team has done it, and the Knicks don't seem like that classic repeat team. Like nobody even thought they would do it this year.
Right,
So it's not like they have some super duper, all star laden team. It's like, they have three superstars or something like that. It was basically on the back of Jalen Brunson, a guy who, as we talked about previously, people still underestimate him probably.
right,
They don't think he's as good as he is. And he gets every ounce of talent out of his body. But I mean, but at the same time, that might be why they repeat because this guy is just so incredible.
right.
Can he lose? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a great point about Brunson because if it's like Wimbyama, then people are already saying, "Uh oh, this is going to be a dynasty in the making." And last year with OKC, they were like because I guess they had what I mean,
A
they
young
had
a young
definable stars,
superstar,
right?
like a young
Yeah,
superstar, and then other young stars, right? Like for
right.
OKC, it was obviously the superstar is Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Then you had uh, Jalen Williams. He was the all star young guy, and then they have
J Dub,
Chet Holmgren, another
ha,
all star at the time. Even
who's
though
going to get laughed out
what
the
a what
league
a
now?
what a difference a year makes.
Oh my God, they're
And
like,
then like I said, like San Antonio, Wemby, the alien,
right.
the almighty alien,
Can we
and then
stop
you got
playing? Can we talk about that? Can we stop calling these brothers aliens and Greek freaks? And I always just gotta. Anyway, that's a rant. But yeah,
but
but
then
you're
even the
right.
young guys like Stephon Castle is a
Right,
young guy. He's a lottery pick
six
from
six
UConn.
points.
Yeah, yeah. And then Dylan Harper, a rookie. He looks like he has a great future. So
Yeah,
people are already attaching that to them, that dynasty.
yeah. So what do you think? So there was that, and then what do you think of Wemby in retrospect? Now that the series is over, and we've talked about Wemby. What are your impressions of him? He didn't shake hands. Did that? What do you think about that? I mean, I'm sure I would be willing to bet you $5. I'd be with you that at some point he shook hands. I mean, it may have been,
In the
privately
in the
under the
bowels of
under
the
the bowels of the stadium that he, you know. But
right.
the first
I
thing
hope
Jalen
so.
Brunson did was go over and shake hands with San Antonio's coach. First thing he did,
Right,
before
right,
he even congratulated anybody else, he went right to Mitch Johnson and shook his
right.
hand. Where the first thing Wemby did was stalk off the court. Now, I don't want to be traditional. What did you think about that?
No, I didn't like it.
I
I
mean,
didn't like it.
nobody, nobody else. I don't think any of us. I'm sure if we looked at the film, I'm sure there were some Spurs that congratulated some
I
Knicks.
I saw somebody, I saw somewhere on social media that they were filming it, and the only guy we could see that that congratulated the Knicks was Cornette from
Of course,
from
the
the
white
Spurs.
guy,
The classy white guy.
the classy white guy.
But so we see Wemby just kind of storm off, and then Castle's behind him. But I blame Wemby because he's the leader. So those other young guys probably just followed him. He's not going to shake hands. Well, I
I
guess
ain't
we
gonna
can't.
say
I guess we
anything.
can't shake hands then. I guess that's what
Right, right. Even
we're
though we
doing.
haven't heard it, shit,
Right.
you
Exactly.
should
So
have.
that's how I felt about the situation where I don't like when Detroit when Isaiah did it, and
Right,
I don't care about that because Isaiah, those are veterans. They can do whatever the hell they want. They had
right,
earned their stripes.
right,
Wemby, you haven't earned the stripes just to walk off. And
right,
I think you need to learn from the people who just beat you. You need to
right,
say great game, and then you kind of absorb it, soak it in, be like, this is what I need to. Oh, this is what I need to aspire to. This is where I have to get to. Respect the team that beat you.
right.
So that kind of bothered me just on that level. But then I'm like, well, he's only 22, so it could have been just completely youth. Like it just could have been a
Well,
youthful
yeah.
mistake.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I don't know. I mean, I would give him a pass. And again, I'm sure that I don't know why I say I'm sure. I'd be surprised if there wasn't some interaction, in the corridors
Or
of the.
nowadays they could text each other. Who knows? You know.
Yeah, hey man, good bad. I didn't want to take away from your joy, you know. But
Right.
I gotta say that's one of my favorite parts of competition is
Right.
at the very end when guys or women, when they kind of, particularly after a hard fought thing. I mean, that's the difference between this make believe life that we live and the real life of war and when people are killing each other. Uh, at the end of this, at the end of these hard fought series, athletes line up and they hug each other or even if they ain't like love, they say, hey, brother, good
Right.
nice game. Although I'm pissed off as hell, you
Right.
know, that's all part of the deal. That's part of sportsmanship. And when you see people, and again, I don't want to be too harsh with women because I got to figure that he's probably super disappointed, probably embarrassed
Right.
because once again they didn't win one game at home, and each time they had these double-digit leads. You're coming off a 29-point blowout,
Right.
so maybe it was just too much. He did address the me. That's when she has the clips. He did address the media and said he learned a lot. He learned a big lesson. He said, I'm really pissed off because it's going to take me 100 games or so to get back here." And as you said, brother, there ain't no guarantee that you
Right.
get back here. There's no
Right.
guarantee that you get back. I guess you got to think like that, but there's no guarantee that you're getting back.
Right.
I mean, but I guess that's the thing of youth that you think there's always going to be tomorrow, always tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. We're going to be in tomorrow, 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 tomorrow. And then
And that's
that's
that's how that's kind of why I'm a little down on Wemby. It's not just walking off without shaking hands. It was the whole persona he took. He kind of took this like combative persona, like cocky persona, like oh, we're not worried. They were never
right,
worried at all about the 3-1. We're the better team
right.
throughout. We dominated. He said that also after the last game. We dominated the series. They just beat us in some crucial moments, like
Yeah,
every crucial
like
moment.
every
You know,
crucial moment they beat
and then,
us.
and then, like you said, he's kind of like, and that's it's a combination of just youth and a lack of humility. Just like, oh, I'm just upset. It's going to take 100 days to get back to this point. First of all, you snuck by a hurt OKC team.
Right.
OKC wasn't even 100%. They were missing their second best player and their best player off the bench, and Chet disappeared as we talk about. So I mean, if
Where is Chet?
OKC
Have
comes
they have
back.
they found him? Have
I
they
don't think
found
they
him yet?
found him yet. I don't know. He might be in San Antonio somewhere hiding. I don't know. But so it's like there's no guarantee that you're better than OKC next year. So we'll see. But Chet, I mean, but Wemby, obviously a great player, 7'5". He's going to get better, and those young kids are going to get better. So they'll be in the
He
mix.
keeps growing. 7'4", 7'5". I thought he was going the other way. Now he's 6'2". Yeah.
Well, people complaining he made himself 6'2", just staying out on the perimeter all day.
Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, I guess somebody said he really thinks he's a guard.
Right,
He's like a stretch. So I
right.
guess that they, as and then Mitch Johnson, I guess, he's probably everybody's up for critique. I love to hear those sessions with Popovich and Mitch. I mean, if they
Right.
actually have if they go by frame,
I'm sure they will.
and
No
they're
doubt.
like, should have done this, should have done that. Why'd you do this? Why'd you
And
do
that's the
this?
thing. Mitch Johnson's getting a lot of criticism. I mean, he's a young coach. He just like he has a young team. He's a young coach.
Yeah,
A young coach is gonna make mistakes. I think they were ahead of schedule, right? I don't think
as
coming
they
into the
say.
season. I don't think coming into the season they really thought that they were a championship contender. So you have a young coach. I mean, they all have to grow together. They all have to take these lumps. So I
Yeah.
think the test for him will be next year. How they how they look next year. Has he learned from the mistakes he made? Does he
He,
become a better coach?
Yeah, he probably has another year, and then if they don't make the playoffs or something foolish happens, you
Right.
got that year, and then that third year is okay. You know,
I mean, people are calling for his job now. You know how today's day and age is on the social
he
media.
wasn't ready. What are they? He's not
Oh,
ready.
fire Mitch Johnson right after the 29-point comeback. They were saying fire him. It's his fault. How did he do this? How did he do that? Da, da,
Right.
da. I'm like, give me a break. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to give the Knicks some credit. really.
Yeah,
And we talked about it before the series. The Knicks were older. They have a very young team. I don't care what coach you have. These kids are gonna grow up 10 years just because there's a different coach.
right. And it's
You
the
know,
same to say. I guess if we had like a basketball aficionado on,
right,
who could break down exactly frame by frame how they came back. Because again, last night, same thing. They were up 10, I think maybe 12, maybe even being up by 15.
right,
And then next thing you know, is a turnaround. And I think a lot of it is, I don't want to put on Wemby, but you got a guy who's like the Wilt Chamberlain of his era. He's not really Wilt Chamberlain.
right.
But, I'm sure that he could have fouled out the entire Knicks front line, except that they keep taking him out. I think his stamina is an issue.
Right.
That they are concerned with his stamina. So maybe instead of going back to the Buddhist temple next year, he needs to go to Gold's Gym, or
Right.
work on his stamina. And like I said, he needs to come up to the Rucker. He needs to
Yep.
spend. He needs to go up to. You think he's taking some criticism now? Go up there. Go
Right.
up to Rucker now. Go up there after this and
Right.
play in the summer. And here
With your Spurs jersey
with
on.
your Spurs jersey on, you know, and play. I mean, I think people would appreciate it if you showed up.
Right.
You know,
Oh
they
yeah.
probably boo him, but they appreciate it.
He gets he would they would show him love, no question about it.
Yeah, the
The
fact
rock
that you
the
had the
rock
heart to come up.
game knows game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
They would appreciate him, no
yeah,
question
man,
about it.
you got enough heart to come up here to Harlem and the Rucker. Yeah, we'll give you some play. I was happy that 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 this to me ended up perfectly. That they ended up winning the championship in Texas, away from Garden, because
Why
the
you say that?
Garden had just become, well, because that was for so many reasons. Number one, it'd be a riot. We'd still be there. We would still be in Madison Square Garden today at
Right.
was almost 4 o'clock New York time on a
Right.
Sunday. We would
Right.
just be getting out of there, and
Right.
and and they may have, who knows, they may have burned down the Garden. You know, we, because there's certain people, man. I think of the January 6th
Right.
riot,
Right.
and there are people. Some I remember this one guy, like he said, I just came for the violence. There's some people, they just come for the violence.
Yes.
This public thing is just an excuse for me. If he's off his medication or
Right.
he's just a
Not
psycho.
even a Knicks fan.
Not even a Knicks fan. He's just
Right.
a fan of people. Just a fan of just violence. Let me come in
Right.
here and start chaos. A crowd. Let me come in and then start some shit. You
Right.
know. And I'm sorry. I came out. I remember last year after the Knicks beat Boston in that series, and it was like that scene. It was people climbing up the flagpole and traffic lights. And I mean, man, this is just your first round game against the Celtics. So no, I was thinking, they need
Right.
to. Okay, I like them to win and finish A because it'd be great. This is the first time in all the years I've been covering sports. It's the first time I think maybe I'm trying to think of it. Let's say the NBA. When I lived in Chicago, when I grew up, they didn't even have a basketball. They had like the Zephyrs. Then the Bulls came in,
Right.
but that was way before Michael Jordan.
Right.
And so by the time the Bulls got good, I was like living. I think I was probably in New York.
Yeah, you were in
And
New York.
when I wrote for the Baltimore Sun, the Baltimore Bullets, I think the Bullets may have been there when I was in college, but I don't think they even had an NBA team.
Right.
Uh, and obviously, then moving to New York in '82. Um,
Nothing since then.
yeah, nothing since then. So this was the first time, let's say professionally speaking, that the hometown pro basketball team won a title. Actually, in New York, when I was in Chicago, I don't even know. Well, coming up, yeah, the Chicago Bears won a championship in
Yeah.
1963, and the Blackhawks were very good and all that. But no, as a
The
professional,
Giants in New York won a
the
couple
Giants in New
times.
York, well, yeah,
Few
well,
times.
yeah, they won.
86,
Uh,
88. Was it
yeah,
86? Or maybe 88, 90, something like that.
well, the one where Buffalo went wide.
Yeah,
The field
Buffalo.
goal went
The
wide.
Lawrence Taylor years, they won 2 with
Yeah,
Parcells.
yeah.
And then Eli Manning later, like 20 years later after that. 20
I
years
was
later
at
after
that. I was at the Eli
that.
Manning game,
Mhm.
Super Bowl. Yeah. So it was different, but I forget the point I was trying to make.
Right. Well,
Um,
let me ask you this. I don't think we've talked since Game 3. Did we talk since Game 3 when Trump was there, and
Oh, yeah.
then Game 4? I mean, it seems so crazy inside the Garden, like
Right,
so many celebrities and everybody
right,
you could think of. It seemed like they played better on the road, and I'm wondering if
right.
that's part of it. I mean, the Knicks should be used to it. Brunson doesn't seem phased by anything, but they had I noticed like a Bridges, for instance, played terribly at home,
Yeah,
but played much better in San Antonio.
on the road.
You
Yeah.
think that was part of it?
Well, that was the point. You reminded me. That was the point I was trying to make. The reason I didn't want it to come back because there was a difference between the way the crowd, Garden crowd, in Game 3 when the president was there, and all that, and the billionaires were buying up
Right.
all the seats, and that's what the Garden felt like. It felt
Mm,
like a very sterile, you know. Of what do you call it, entitlement. Like we're
right. Right.
expecting if we're here, we're celebrities. Either somebody gifted me this seed or whatever. It was just all that. I think
Right.
I think 4 was a little more down to earth. It was a little more the crowd. It was like about basketball.
Hmm.
I think Game 3 was about celebrity and all that nonsense.
Hmm.
But I just suspect. Could you imagine if there was a closeout game, Game 6 at the Garden? Who knows, maybe the guy would have wanted to come back, you
Right.
know I think it would have been the same ridiculousness.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I said this was the best of both worlds. You're away, but you win, it away. And there are Knicks fans there, the long suffering Knicks fans who were
Right.
there and got to celebrate, but it's much more chill. So now we'll have the parade on Thursday.
Right.
Like you said, Spike Lee's going to do his thing.
I said
uh,
people back here in New York did not seem to care where they won it. Okay, it was
right,
crazy in the city.
right. Yeah.
Cars honking everywhere. It was wild. It was a wild scene.
That was a
You know.
great scene. And you're right, it's probably not that way. I think it may have been somewhat when the Yankees won after they had been after they'd been terrible.
Right.
I think it was when Jeter was there and they won their first championship with Jeter.
Right.
Maybe it was like that, but I don't know if the Yankees, I mean, the Yankees, great team. I don't know if it'd be like when the Brooklyn Dodgers won, it's like
Right. No.
it'd
Right.
been like a different crowd.
And I think I saw Greenberg say that he kind of the Knicks are different because you got the Yankees, you got 40% of the city is Mets fans, right? And they hate the Yankees. Then you got the
Right,
Giants, and 50% of the people are Jets fans, and they hate the Giants.
right,
So but the Knicks, Nets fans, they're not a real thing. So
right. 'Cause they're not an
it's not
entity.
it's not a real thing. So it's like basically 90% of the people are Knicks fans. So
Right,
it's the whole city, you know.
right,
So
right.
there is a difference.
Yeah, yeah. So that's good. So are you going to go to the parade?
Yeah, I have to check it out. I've never even been to any parade, like because I was never a Giants fan, not a Yankees fan. I was too young to go to a Mets parade back in the day in '86.
Yeah,
So I'll check it out. I should have went to the Liberty parade. I didn't do that.
yeah. People
But
forget the Liberty Parade.
yeah, the Liberty
When they're-
parade. It did happen. It happened, and it was well attended.
Yeah.
But it will be nothing like the Knicks. The Knicks,
Um,
I don't know they might have to change the route. Like this is gonna be there's gonna be too many people wherever they have this Knicks parade.
yeah, this is going to be what is Thursday?
Thursday, yes.
Yeah. I know I'm supposed to go to I've got to check my credentials. I'm supposed to go to the France France Senegal game, World Cup game.
That's Tuesday, right?
That's Tuesday, and
Tuesday, yeah.
that's another reason why I wanted to end because that game would be on the same day of Game
Oh,
6.
yeah, yeah, that's too
And
much.
we were going to, at Ansky, we are going to turn it into a story of how you get from MetLife to the Garden, you know. But
And good luck with that. That'd have been rough.
yeah, that would have been that would
Because
have
you,
been.
you hear all this stuff with the World Cup that they've the transportation they're not letting you drive in, and then they charge you $100 to take the train, which normally costs $10. It's just
Wow,
it's just crazy. So
wow. Yeah, I've got it now. Now that you mentioned it, there's a colleague who's covering the game, and I'm supposed to ride with him or something.
right,
I'll
right.
I'll see. I can't be not if I have to ride the back seat. I'll walk. I tell you, I'm just telling you right now, I
Right.
won't go. I won't go. I gave up a first class seat because it was like they have you in the bulkhead where your
Uh,
knees are right against the wall,
yeah.
and I was like, no, I can't do that. I'd rather take emergency exit row where I can stretch my legs
Right.
than be sitting up against that wall just so I get a free Coke, you know.
Exactly.
and so,
Nah,
and
I'm
it's
with you right there.
two
The leg
cookies
room is
instead of
key.
one.
The leg room is key.
Oh man, I need leg room, man. You're a big guy, man. You just
Yeah.
be somewhere like if the only last seat was like a middle seat, and
Oh,
like and like, oh my God, you know what? I'll rent a car and I'll drive to San Antonio. You know,
right, 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 right. So no, it should be interesting. Speaking of the World Cup, the USA. I was I watched, and I'm watching these guys, and I'm just a very, 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 very casual. Like I only watch World Cup and Olympic soccer. Okay, so I'm watching it. I don't know anybody's name. I don't know where they play,
right?
what team they really play for, any of that. But I play sports. I'm a sports guy, so you could tell what's good and what's not. And in the past, I've watched the USA team, and I'm like, they don't look good. They don't look athletic. They
Right.
just look ordinary. Like so they don't look. There's nothing special about this team. So I'm watching this year, and I'm expecting the same thing, to be honest. And I'm watching them, and they're playing Paraguay, and I'm like, I just see more skill. I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
what's going on here? I'm like, these guys look like they actually are good,
They're athletic.
athletic. And then so my wife looks it up, like how many black players. She's like, I feel like this is the most black players they've ever had. And then
Yeah.
she looks it up, and it says, AI tells her, oh, 2020, what are we? 2022 was the most. But I'm like, well, that's AI. They're not taking into consideration this year. So
Right.
she looks up this year.
AI is always in the past.
Right, they're in the past. So we actually look up the roster and compared them. And I think in 2022 they had about 11 black and brown players. And this year they have about 14, 15. And so this year they have the most ever that they've had. And I think you can tell, Bill,
Yeah.
because they look pretty good.
Yeah.
They look pretty
Yeah,
good.
athletic. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's the whole problem with soccer in this country. In fact, I'm thinking about the story to write for the fundraiser. I mean, the curtain raiser piece about the Olympic. I mean, the World Cup already started, but it doesn't start until I write the first column. You
Right.
know, but I went to the World Cup in South Africa in 2010. I think it was 2010. I believe it was. Uh, and then that was the first time the World Cup had been held in Africa.
Mm,
So that was clearly my story. And it was in
mhm,
South Africa. And I spent a month in South Africa driving around and all that.
mhm.
And the question is, you got all these great black athletes in Africa, not just South Africa, but in Africa. All
Right.
these great soccer players in Africa. But they all play in Europe. It's kind of like the reverse of the slave trade in some way. I mean, they all play in England and in France and in Portugal and here and there. And I'm thinking, man, if Africa could ever keep all their, great athletes, I mean, you have a great Senegalese team, you have a great Cameroon team, you have all these great teams in South Africa, in Africa. Um, but now, I guess the story is twofold. In most of the countries, soccer is sort of like the working person's game.
Right.
Like basketball in some ways used to be here, you
Mhm,
know, but I think here it's this middle and upper middle class game. I think Khalid Green was talking about that, you
mhm.
know, that he was talking about in terms of soccer. He was talking
In
about
terms of
that's what
basketball.
basketball is becoming.
Right, but and soccer has been that.
Oh, it's been that.
Soccer's worse. Soccer's like, it's like almost an upper class sport here.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like
The amount of money you got to pay
right,
is is amazing. And I think that there are some people here are committed to that. They want to keep it like that.
right,
They don't want it to look like the NBA,
right,
or the NFL. They
right,
want to keep it this kind of suburban,
right,
white, upper to middle, upper class game for their kids to play. Because once you allow it to be, wide open, like with almost anything else, they are not going to compete. they're not
Right.
going to be able to compete. So we got to
Right.
create these systems where money always rules.
Right.
The only way you can compete is if you got money.
Right.
You know, so
Right. Similar to baseball, what
oh yeah,
baseball's become.
baseball too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, and yeah, I mean, I see it. Like a lot of these youth soccer, it's rare to see people of color in these soccer leagues, at least in Brooklyn and New York, where I am.
right.
So
How'd you get here? Yeah. What,
well, you
what
got
do you do?
so
What do you do
it's
for a
almost like
living?
it's almost like private school kids.
Right,
Everybody's a private school kid. So yeah, no, I know what you mean. But
lacrosse.
lacrosse, yeah, same thing. But
Yeah,
this guy for like probably the MVP of that first game against Paraguay was Falarin Balogun,
yeah,
and it's funny, he's like a great argument for birthright citizenship.
right,
One of the, our president who wants to get rid of birthright citizenship, but now everybody's rooting for this guy who was born in Brooklyn, but only because he's really from London and he's really Nigerian
right,
who's living in London, and they went and his mom and his parents came to New York on vacation, and she was trying to get home, but she was too pregnant, so they wouldn't let her on the plane. And
right,
he was born in Brooklyn,
right,
and so he was here for a few months, then went back to London, and that's why he's on the U.S. That's where he got his citizenship from, and that's why he's on the team, and he's their best player,
right,
and we're all
right.
rooting for that. I'm sure we're all rooting for him right now.
Well, I wonder. I like to hear these people, these fierce "Make America White Again" people, and they're. You're right. There's probably contingent. People have a heart and compassion who will look at that story and say, yeah, but the other people look and say, no, we don't care. We want the country has become too brown, too black. We don't like it. We're going to do everything in our power to change that. There are people who actually feel like that, not like,
No, no question.
oh well, yeah, it'd be great. Just, come on, it's great and opportunity. No, there are people who are dead set against that. So they look at this guy and they say that that's what we're trying to eliminate. You know that.
We'd
So
rather just lose.
we'd rather lose. We'd rather lose because we're going to win because we control all the money that's in the bank. You
Right?
know.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Yeah, but I wasn't gonna talk to the Jets quarterback. I mean, the Giants quarterback.
No, no, no.
Not on
They
my
they
time.
they, they did show him on the telecast. He was sitting with Brees Hall from the Jets. So
Yeah, well, they probably arranged that. So listen, we need to kind of smooth this over. You know? Do you have any black friends? Well, yeah, I mean,
yeah, of
yeah,
course, I play
of
football.
course. I play football. Yeah, the whole locker room.
The whole locker room. You
Why
know,
are you guys? He said, why are you guys all pissed off at me?
I'm sure he is. I'm sure he's
Abdul
pretty
Carter
oblivious.
might be the only one who can articulate why.
Right? No, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, that's another issue. Yeah. So what else we got? So you know, Knicks win. That's another thing about all this, man. I wrote my column and filed it early this morning. You're trying to you spend so much time thinking about these big historic moments, and you think you got to write this opus like, oh, this is a big, it's 53 years and all that, then and it's kind of like a Knicks fan. The Knicks fan whole identity for like probably two or three generations has been long suffering Knicks fan. So now how are they going to change their identity to like, okay, you're not long suffering anymore. You won the championship.
Right?
You're not a
Right?
long suffering Knicks fan. But then I was thinking, I covered the Boston Red Sox when they won their first world championship in like 89 years.
Right?
89 years. When the Chicago Cubs won the World Series, it'd been 101 years.
Right?
It'd be, I mean, 100, it'd be a century. A
Right?
century.
Of a time they actually played baseball.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not. It's
that's
not.
what, at the beginning of baseball. So I mean, the Knicks, I get it. It's like 53 years was a long time. It's a
Right.
half century.
Right. But nothing
But
compared to the
let's
Red
compare it
Sox
to the
and
Red Sox and the Cubs, man. And I don't know. I guess we have to. I don't think there are any other professional teams that are approaching that. I mean, I think I don't know if they're. We'd have to. I'm afraid to ask AI which
yeah.
professional teams, professional sports teams have not the longest run have gone the longest time without winning a
Right.
title. I'm sure
Right.
it'd be somebody, but I don't know if it'd be 50 something years. I don't know if it'd be. It certainly would be 100 years.
No, no, because 100 that would have to be baseball and one of the original teams,
Right.
and then same, football started in the 40s, 50s.
Yeah.
So, and
Well,
then
technically the 20s, but the NFL, if you look at the when did the NFL, the National Football League, officially start?
right,
And
or the AFL and the NFL.
then there was a merger and all that. I mean, I think in New York, I think the only thing that might rival, maybe I don't, but like you said, even if the Jets would go to the Super Bowl,
And that's six. Was that 69?
yeah, last time it was like the Jets, the Knicks, they all had this great run. But the point you made was great in that even if the Jets went to the Super Bowl, there's 50% Giants fans who would hate it.
Right, right,
They wouldn't be out
exactly.
there. They wouldn't be out there
No,
in a parade for the Jets.
no, no way, no way. But maybe the Jet maybe that's a good sign. Maybe the Jets will be in the Super Bowl this year. What do you think?
I don't know. I'm pulling for my brother. I'm pulling for my
Yeah,
brother Aaron Glenn,
Eric
and
Glenn.
and, and you got Geno Smith is
I
back.
forgot. I forgot. That's their quarterback. They're not going to the. They're not
Oh
going to
man,
the
you don't give
Super Bowl.
Geno. Come
No,
on,
no, no.
the season
Maybe,
hasn't even
maybe,
started. You decided to kill
maybe,
Geno.
maybe 5 years ago, I give Gino a shot. It's over for Gino. It's over.
Oh man, of course that's why he's in New York.
Right. Exactly. That's why they got him. It's over.
Yeah, because it's over. So you see where your boy Russell was. Well, there's plenty of football to talk. Uh, we
Yeah.
can't show our
Russell's in the booth. He's in the booth
Russell's
now.
be in the booth.
Mhm.
I'm sure he'll be good. But we'll have time to dissect that. But meanwhile, any final thoughts about your Knicks, your New York Knicks, and the upcoming parade?
I
Yeah,
mean,
I'm
yeah,
ready.
I'll be at the parade. I'll make my way downtown, uh, and I think I'm sure it'll be a record setting attendance at that parade. You probably won't be able to move in either direction once
So
you're
why
once
would
you're
you
in there.
go? Why would you
I mean,
go to that?
just just to say you were there. That's the only reason.
I
Just
think
to
I
say
see.
you
I
were there.
choose. Let
Take
me
some
look at my
pictures.
schedule.
Take some pictures. It's the social media era, Bill. You got to go
I
to let
forgot.
everybody else know you were there. All
Yeah, I
right.
forgot. Yeah, okay, that's what I was thinking. I wrote this pieces that you wrote it, man. It's like so people are writing in stone, like the tablets. So you got to be on. I did film some stuff which I've seen. So let's see, next Thursday is the 18th, 19th is the
Hmm.
19th, and I don't see a World Cup game. I don't see a World Cup game scheduled. Um, you know, but I like to be. I don't know. I went to. I think I went to one parade, maybe two. Uh, when I think when the Yankees won, and then the one that I thought was neat when the Chicago White Sox won the World Series. I
Mm,
flew back to Chicago and I was actually got on a float. I got on one of the trucks.
really, really.
Yeah,
So
man.
you've been on a float.
I was been on a
That's
float.
that's that's big time right there.
And I was telling athletes, every athlete, including women, should be part of a parade, not the one that you win, just to see what it's like.
Right,
I mean,
right.
it was amazing. I actually saw somebody I went to high school with.
In the stands.
When I was on the float, I was on
Right,
the
right.
truck, I was not I don't want to say a float. That's more like
Right, right.
like Miss America, where you're like, I was on a
Oh,
float. I was like
right.
more like a bus or a truck
Okay,
or something.
okay, okay.
But but just to be on that truck and to go down and just see people hanging out the buildings and all that. I was thinking, I may have even written about it, I'm sure, but every athlete, if you lose it, should get on, be part of that. So you'll say, oh, this is what this shit is about, you know. And I'm sure the Cubs, when the Cubs, I remember 100 something years, the Cubs parade was unbelievable.
Yeah, had to be. You weren't at that. You didn't go to
Now,
that one.
now, oh, because I grew up on the south side of Chicago,
Right, right, right,
and the,
right,
the
right.
Cubs were like a north side team.
North
Now,
side.
Wilbon is younger than me. He's part of another generation of black folks where it was okay to be a Cubs fan.
Hmm.
Like I
Right.
grew up, like if you were on the south side, you were a Chicago White Sox fan.
Right.
You know,
Right.
the Cubs were kind of like the North Side, which to me was like going to like North Korea or something. You know, like my sister went to Northwestern, and that was in Evanston,
Right.
and that was a whole nother journey. But
Right.
yeah, but when the White Sox won, I even now forget the year that the White Sox won, but I went back to Chicago for that, and it was a big deal. But now I don't know, man. Being that there's a journalist part of me that you kind of want to go to these events, you want to be there,
Right.
but then at some point there's a common sense side that man, you don't have to be at every event. Now maybe if I got an offer to say, okay, we'll put you in one of the trucks.
Right. Then you're there.
Then that's different.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Right.
there's something
Especially
about
especially for a Knicks one. They might have like a media one. You never know.
I may text one of my reporter friends. Is there going to be a
Mhm.
media bus?
Right. Like
You know,
your credentials, and they put you on one of the trucks or whatever.
yeah, yeah, maybe. I don't know. That could be. Then there's probably a lottery for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
You could sneak me on. I could climb up the back,
yeah,
and get,
that
and
could
get-
be. Yeah, if there's a media bus, I'm sure because media's got to cover it.
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
You know,
Like all the
uh,
beat writers, they gotta be there.
all the beat writers will be there, and then everybody show favor. I don't know. I wouldn't qualify as a beat writer because
No,
I
but
was.
I'm sure there'll be a few columnists that have to get it, to get in there.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll see. I'll throw out feelers and say, "What? Are you kidding? You Johnny come lately?" Yeah,
Exactly. Well, you had to have your application in by June 6th, Bill.
right. Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah. Um, all right, man. Well, listen, this was great. Glad we able to do this. I'm in San Antonio. I'm leaving in the morning, and we'll kind of flip into World Cup mode, and then we'll flip into NFL mode. You
Yeah,
know,
right
the,
around the
the
corner.
yeah, yeah. The NBA is like Major League Baseball, pretty grueling, man. I mean, NBA plays 82 games,
Right,
baseball 182 games. I'm just thinking of our colleagues who cover this stuff, man.
right, right,
City to city, particularly in the NBA. I mean, in the Major League Baseball, you may stay. They have like 2 or 3 games staying home stands
right.
where you may go to a city and you'll be there for like 3 nights. You know, as opposed to the NBA, man. You're here, you know, boom,
Back to
here,
back to
boom.
backs in different places.
Yeah, then you jump on the plane and all that. I said, man, how do you guys do that? You know. So anyway, well, that you don't. So,
Exactly,
uh,
exactly.
all
But
right, man. Well.
but before we leave, Brunson's the king of New York. King of New
Oh.
York.
So here's the thing about that. That's what I meant to ask you. Does he go to the top of the scale? Does he go to the top of Knicksdom? Does he pass? Does he pass Bernard King? Does he
Definitely.
pass Patrick Ewing?
Yes.
Does he pass Clyde Frazier? Now I asked Clyde about that, and he said, "I got 2 rings."
He said that.
He did.
That's
In
great.
fact, I
Yeah,
put
that's
in the
great.
column I wrote today. He said, "Yeah, well, because I asked him a question because all those guys they're like the Miami Dolphins, the undefeated team. Those are the guys that are still living. Whenever there's an undefeated team, when the team finally loses, they pour champagne.
Right.
So I asked uh, during the Cleveland series, I said, Clyde, when if the Knicks should actually win, are you worried about your stature? You know?" And he said, no, because there's always been him and Brunson. And
Right.
he
Right.
said, no, because people are going to say, well, Clyde has two, you
Right.
know,
That's right. They will, and
and,
that and
and
that's
Clyde,
fair.
Clyde has two.
He has two. He has two. That's fair, and that's what I was thinking. But I do think, you got to put him ahead of everybody else besides
Everybody else.
Clyde and Willis Reed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Well, why Willis? Willis has two, too, didn't he?
that's what I mean. I mean, you have to, except for Clyde and Willis, he's right. He's behind those two. If you want to be honest about the situation, if you want to be like, you know, the typical media today who doesn't remember anything that happened 10 years ago, or
Yeah,
anything that you didn't see doesn't count.
right. It
Then
doesn't
that's
matter.
different. But if you just want to be a pure historian about it, there's no way you can put him over over Clyde. He had two, and Clyde was also had great game sevens and
Oh,
closeout
he had a
games.
great game.
You know,
Well, Jalen Brunson's great game.
yeah, he was
Well, it
great.
wasn't a game seven; it was a game
No,
five. It was a
closeout game,
closeout game. You know,
45. You know,
45 was a lot of points.
yeah, and
But
that was a Knicks playoff record.
yeah,
45 points. But no, but like you said, 2 rings, 2 championships. That's what's
right.
important. We say Tom Brady's the GOAT. Why? Because he has all these
He
championships.
got
That's the reason.
6.
Yeah. you
Yeah,
know, all these,
yeah.
and people like me, not huge fans of Tom Brady, I can't say anything. Okay, you got it.
Yeah.
You got all
I
those
was there,
rings.
I was thinking of when the Knicks overcame that 29-point lead. I was in the press box at the Super Bowl when New England came from 28-3. They were losing 28-3
Right.
and came back and beat Atlanta in the Super Bowl. And I said, you know what? This dude, man, I don't care what his political affiliation is. This motherfucker is terrible, man.
Right, right. And
You
that's what
know,
people were really. That's the one comparison that people had to that Knicks comeback,
yeah,
game 4, was that Atlanta Falcons collapse.
yeah. 28-3. And then they rewarded Kyle Shanahan, who was offering, oh, okay, we're going to make you the head coach, of
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
49ers.
Right.
Yeah.
Unbelievable,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
But
But
no, but
yeah,
yeah.
but, but I
So
mean,
yes,
Brunson is right. But in terms of like, New York legends, he's in the legendary status already. He could never, if he never played another game, he's a legend. He's right there with like Joe Namath, uh,
yeah.
Clyde Frazier, Willis Reed. He's right there. Who am I forgetting? There's some other. I
Bill
guess.
Bradley. Why does nobody ever mentions Bill Bradley?
I mean, I didn't see him play, so maybe
Yeah.
I'm forgetting about him. But he
I
doesn't. He
saw I
didn't.
saw Charles Oakley. I saw Charles Oakley
Oakley, yeah, Oakley was in San Antonio. That was
in
great.
San Antonio.
That was great.
He was kind of, yeah,
right, 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 right,
yeah,
right,
okay, I get it.
right. Well, he showed up, right?
He
It was
showed up.
obviously it was obviously important on some level
Yeah, because
for
I
him
mean,
to
he
show up.
spent time there. He was a Nick,
Yep.
and except that dust up with the owner, they probably will never heal that. You
Right.
know, but I
Right.
think it just showed him a lot. It showed a class that he was there,
Right.
and he was like, "Yeah, okay, I'm a Nick." You know, I wonder if he ever won a championship with the Bulls. I don't think so,
No, he did not.
because I think they traded him.
Right.
I think they traded him just before they started winning championships
For Cartwright, remember?
for Cartwright. So
Yeah.
Cartwright got all his rings.
Yeah, Cartwright has the
Here,
rings. Yeah.
Charles, I've
Yeah.
got it all. Which one would you like? I've got 6 of them. Which one would you like?
That's right. That's right. Yep. So, but no,
Yeah,
that was I thought that was great. That's when I was in my true Nick fandom back when he was a Nick. So
yeah.
that was great to see Oakley there.
I didn't see
Um,
Charles Smith.
I don't. I was talking about. I never see Charles Smith in any of these things.
They never showed Charles. I mean, 'cause
I see him in New York all the time. Like now, every now and then I'll see him in New York. I seen him
but
in
you
the
never see him
Garden.
on the jumbotron.
Yeah, no, you never see him on the jumbotron because he'll get booed.
But
But
maybe do you think maybe now they can show him on the jumbotron?
maybe
Because
that's
they,
funny because remember Game 4 when Josh Hart missed that layup. Remember that?
yeah,
Game 4, Josh Hart missed that wide open layup. Then he gives up the rebound, and he said it himself that he felt like Anunoby saved him from
right.
from a lifetime of regret, and that's
Yeah,
very true because he would have been right on Charles Smith if they lost that game. He's on Charles Smith's level,
right.
and I always think about that. Like I seen Charles Smith. I've been in the elevator with Charles Smith in the Garden, and that's the first thing that pops in my mind is that this guy missed 3 layups in
Point blank.
game
Point
5
blank.
point blank against the Bulls, and I know everybody else thinks that. I wonder if he thinks that, like if he knows everybody's thinking that.
He probably does. I guess you just have to have a particular frame of mind where you just put it out there somewhere. But they never show. But I'm not sure I've never seen him at the Garden. But I don't see him at the Garden. I mean, a lot. Well, not that I'm at the Garden a
He's not.
lot.
He's not. I mean, all they do is show ex Knicks. Some guys who had worse careers than him with the Knicks
Yeah,
are there.
they always show Stark and Starks. Remember, he shot him out of that the '94
Right.
Against Houston.
Well, maybe
When he
that's what Charles Smith needs to do. He needs to come and be a super fan, and then the fans will forgive him because like, oh, he cares about us now. Oh.
it's just too late. So they won the championship.
Right.
You have to show up when we're still like
Right,
in that hurting mode.
right, right.
Now, it's kind of like I guess is maybe that should be a column. Is there amnesty for Charles Smith?
That would be a great column, man.
Should
Especially
Charles Smith
especially
finally get
people who were
amnesty?
around in the '90s. Who that would be a great column because, and then you gotta talk to him too. See what? Come on, man.
I know. See,
Because
amnesty for
he knows it. He has to want amnesty himself. Like, come on.
yeah, he's got to. Yeah, he's very Charles is a very
And it wasn't like they
smart
weren't
guy.
uncontested layups.
Oh
You
no,
know,
but I think it was Pippen. I think it was
yeah, it
Pippen.
was Pip and Horace Grant, and they were fouling him probably. You know,
Yeah, it
yeah,
was that
but
brutal. It was that brutal area of like if your leg is not broken, your neck is not cracked, we're not gonna call the foul.
right.
And I guess he
In
couldn't dunk.
today's game, he would have got the foul call, no question.
Oh, immediately, yeah. But it wasn't. So
But speaking of that too, what did you think about the officiating in this game? Because I felt like the Knicks were getting shafted the whole game 5, and there have been a
but
couple games this series. You didn't see that, Bill?
no,
You didn't think that?
no,
All right, so it was just me rooting for
it
the
was
Knicks. You're
you.
saying?
It was
All
you.
right.
It was you being a rooter. You were a rooter.
I thought they were getting shafted. I was like, this is ridiculous.
Though I do think, Tony Brothers is supposed to he's running for office now,
Really? As what?
in Virginia Beach or something.
But is he a
I
Democrat,
don't know,
Republican?
alderman or something. He's running for some position. I'm sure he's running law and order,
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
no, no, I didn't. I don't really care about that stuff. I mean,
I try not to be that guy, but I was watching it. I'm like, what is going? Because I will say this: Wemby gets the benefit of the whistle. Period. Like he just, at least against the Knicks, he was like he does. He's finishing games with like 1 or 2 fouls. There's
I
no
know,
way.
I know. Whenever he gets too far, what? Wow,
Yeah, it's like what?
But maybe he is a great shot blocker. But we'll see. We'll see
Yeah,
going forward.
right.
We'll see going forward if they still. The thing is, I mean, if he is not injured, if he well, everybody gets hurt, but
Right.
if he avoids those devastating
Major. Yeah. Right.
major injuries, he's only going to get better. Um,
And
you
stronger,
know,
hopefully.
and strong. Well, strong, yeah. Is like we said, instead of going to the monks, he needs to go to the Gold's Gym.
Right.
And gets stronger. But maybe that's just his frame. I don't know.
Right.
But
He's never going to be like a big muscular guy, but
he's not going to be like Akeem Olajuwon or
right.
something.
But he could get you can obviously get stronger. I mean, even like a Kevin Durant has probably got stronger throughout his career.
Right. Yeah.
But he still looks skinny.
How many championships does Kevin have? 2?
The 2 with Golden
Golden
State.
State,
Yep,
right?
the 2. That's
And
it.
that's it. He's been chasing ever since.
But those are Steph Curry's championships. I'm just joking.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
just,
he may hit you back on social media.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just half joking.
Had he not got hurt, he probably would have 3. Remember, he got hurt against Toronto,
That's right. He would have had
and
3
and
probably,
and they were on the way to crushing Toronto.
and Kawhi would have none
And
if that
Kawhi
was
would
the
have
case.
that. Yeah, Kawhi Leonard, we haven't mentioned him.
Yeah,
So, all right. Well, listen, man. We'll still decide. You're going to the parade on
right.
Thursday.
Thursday. Yep.
I'm not.
You'll be at the
I'm not.
World Cup on Tuesday.
Be at the World Cup on
France,
Tuesday.
Senegal.
France, Senegal, and yeah, we'll see. But have fun.
France is one of the favorites. France is one of the favorites, and
France, England,
they have
Germany, Spain.
and France has a bunch of brothers on the team.
Oh yeah, well, they all do. Not all have a bunch, but France has a bunch.
France is like 90%.
Yeah, a lot of them.
I looked it up the other day. France is all over. They got a lot.
Yeah, colonialism worked.
Including Mbappe. So that should be
Mbappe, is he playing?
yeah, he's playing. He's playing.
Yeah, he's kind of like this. Like he's on his last go round.
I mean, he's probably I think he's late 20s, 27,
Oh
28.
no, he's like Brunson. He's like in his
Yeah,
prime,
yeah, he should be in his prime, but he's kind of tailed off the last couple of years, I think.
living that good life, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's tough.
Living that good
It's
life
tough.
that must be really tough. And I guess another thing that makes I guess Brunson. I guess Brunson's got such a chip on his shoulder. Remember, he won two championships of Villanova. Two people. I don't know if people forget it, but he won 2 championships. People always, when people call it, I don't think everybody. And I've nobody's ever said this. Nobody said this. So somebody did.
Right.
You just call it. Nobody said this. Motherfucker, somebody did say that. You know.
Right. No, you're right. But that also makes me think, like, I'm like, it's most likely, this seems like a most likely one and done for the Knicks, and probably is, like, just, statistically,
So
it's
it'd be another
historically.
53 years. So when your two sons are like in their 60s,
Right. They'll
you
be
know, they can
clamoring for another
they'll be
championship.
like, man, it's been. I was like, how old are these sons? What?
11 and 7.
11 and 7. So yeah, man, I was 7 years old when the Knicks won their last championship. Yeah.
Right. But, when you have a guy like Brunson who's a stone cold winner, as we know, maybe they can. Maybe they can. Maybe
Are they going to
and
keep the team together?
the front office has been great. You got to give the front office, immense amount of credit for putting that team together. It worked. So maybe they'll
Worldwide West.
Worldwide West, Leon Rose. Maybe they continue to tweak it. I think they do keep the team together. Cat, he'll be there.
And
So
now Cat is in his 10th year. He's like 29. He wasn't the same
he's
thing.
still
He's like
young. Yeah,
30.
nowadays guys come in at 18, 19 years old.
I
So
think he came in at 19, so he's
19, yeah,
probably
29.
29.
Yeah, so
And so,
you got a good
Hart.
Hart. Same thing. Hart's probably younger. Hart's probably like 28, 20,
What would
27,
you do with
28.
Mitchell Robinson? That's another thing too. You think we talking about Wimby to go to Gold's Gym? Do you think that Mitchell Robinson, if he made an investment this summer to like shoot free throws, well, maybe he needs a psychologist.
Oh,
Maybe he doesn't need a free throw
he
guru. He
need,
needs
he
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 needs a
needs all of
psychologist.
the above. He needs a psychiatrist. He needs a shot doctor. I mean, are you kidding me? Like that's the most line drive free throw I've ever seen in my life. I don't understand how one coach couldn't force him to put some arc on it, unless he's that when he does put arc on it, it's even worse. So
Right.
I don't know.
But he can actually shoot underhand. But
That's
they said nobody's going to shoot underhand.
no, it's
That's
too
not.
embarrassing. It's too embarrassing.
It's embarrassing.
Anyway, thanks again to the listeners for listening, for your continued support. We appreciate it. Of course, you can find the podcast wherever you get your podcasts, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. Follow us on social media at BrosPod, on Twitter at BrosPod, on Instagram, Bill Roden on Sports, on Facebook. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please share, press that like button, subscribe, and we will be back very soon with a new episode. Peace.